Once upon a time, in a dark and twisted forest, there lived a brother and sister named Hansel and Gretel. Their parents were poor and couldn't afford to feed them, so they decided to abandon the children in the woods and let them fend for themselves. Hansel and Gretel were frightened and alone, but they tried to remain hopeful as they wandered deeper into the forest. After hours of walking, they stumbled upon a gingerbread house. The smell of sweets wafted through the air, and the two siblings couldn't resist the temptation. As they approached the house, they noticed something strange. The windows were made of human eyes, and the door was lined with teeth. They hesitated, but their hunger got the best of them, and they decided to enter the candy-coated abode. Inside, they were greeted by a woman who introduced herself as the witch. She offered them a feast fit for a king and queen, and the children happily accepted. They ate and ate until they were so full they could barely move. But then, the witch revealed her true intentions. She had lured the children to her house so she could fatten them up and eat them. She locked Hansel in a cage and forced Gretel to do chores around the house. Every day, the witch would cook a feast for Hansel, trying to fatten him up even more. And every night, she would sneak into Gretel's room and whisper terrifying threats in her ear, warning her not to try to escape. Gretel was terrified and knew she had to save her brother before it was too late. One night, she waited until the witch was asleep, and then she snuck into the kitchen and found a sharp knife. She used it to free Hansel from his cage, and together they made a run for it. As they fled through the forest, they could hear the witch's cackling laughter echoing through the trees. They ran until they were completely lost and exhausted. Suddenly, they came across a small cottage. It looked abandoned, but they didn't care, they just needed a place to hide. They went inside and tried to make themselves comfortable. But as they explored the cottage, they noticed something strange. There were cages in every room, and bones scattered across the floor. Suddenly, they had a creaking sound coming from the attic. They cautiously climbed the stairs and pushed open the door. What they saw made their blood run cold. The witch was there, waiting for them. She had tracked them down and was determined to make them pay for trying to escape. Hansel and Gretel were trapped, with nowhere to go. The witch cackled as she revealed her true plan. She was not just any ordinary witch, but a powerful demon who fed on the souls of innocent children. She had been waiting for Hansel and Gretel for centuries, knowing they would be the perfect meal to satisfy her insatiable hunger. She lunged at them, her eyes glowing with malevolent glee. Hansel and Gretel screamed as they tried to fend her off, but it was no use. The demon witch was too powerful, and she quickly overpowered them. In the end, Hansel and Gretel were consumed by the demon witch, their souls trapped forever in her twisted realm of darkness and horror. And as the witch feasted on their flesh, she laughed, knowing that her hunger would never truly be satisfied.